Okay, everyone. Today I'm going to kind of just go over how to use Adobe Audition. Now, the version that I'm using is a little bit older than the one you have because I have a very old computer, but I think overall it should look pretty much the same. So the first thing we need to do is open Adobe Audition. I'm going to use the Spotlight command, which you can get to by pressing Command Spacebar on a Mac. And I will try as well when I'm going through this to talk about both the commands for a PC and a Mac. So when you first open this up, you're going to get this little how to learn thing. Just close that up. And we're going to create our first project. So to do that, we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to choose Multi-Track Session. And we'll talk about the difference between multi-track and waveform in just a second. Now this is important right here. You're going to see that we have an untitled session, so we should name that. I'm just going to call this Demo, but you can name it whatever you want. And then this is the most important part right here where it says folder location. We want to actually put this in our Time Arts folder. So I'm going to hit Browse, and I'm just going to, for this, I'm going to put it on the desktop. You should probably put it on your external drive. And since I haven't created a system yet, I'm just going to create a folder called Time Arts. And inside of that, I'll call this project Demo Sound Project. Now you want to do this because it lets you save all of your audio and everything together so that you don't accidentally misplace something. So we're going to choose this Demo Sound Project. This just allow you to know that whenever you move this folder right here, it'll have everything you need. So if you need to use another computer or something like that, it'll all be within the folder that you're creating here. All right, everything else, sample rate, all of this should be fine. So just hit OK. All right, and so this is our multi-track layout. Let's just take a quick look at this, and then we'll start getting into the basics of using Adobe Audition. So you can see that you've got two options here. You've got multi-track up here and waveform. The waveform is going to be a way of basically just working on a single sound file, whereas multi-track is going to be where you kind of put everything together. We'll spend most of our time here in multi-track. And if you think about multi-track, it's kind of like layers in Photoshop. You can have a different layer for each one. You can turn it on and off, etc. Right here is where you're going to have all of your sounds. Right now, I don't have any sounds other than my demo project. And here you can kind of search through your media for your audio. You also have history down here. And then let's get over to this section right here, which is our tools. We'll be using the arrow to move things around, the cut tool or razor tool a little bit just to allow us to cut up different audio sections, and here the time selection tool. So those are going to be the main ones. You can see V for the arrow. A V looks kind of like an arrow, the R for razor tool, and then the T for time selection tool. So those all kind of make sense. Let's go down in here. So here we've got a couple different things that we'll be getting into a little bit later. This is the snapping section to snap together our different segments of audio. So that basically means if you just move audio a little bit closer to something, it'll kind of snap in there. Then we've got our time meter right here, and we can zoom in and out using this little guy here. So if we go further, that'll zoom us in. Farther away will zoom us out. We can also use the plus and minus keys to zoom in and out. All right. And then let's take a quick look right here at this section. All right. So you have your track name. You can change that just by clicking in there. And I'm going to be recording a vocal, so I'll just call this voice number 1. Next to this, we've got M for mute, S for solo, which means it mutes everything other than the things that have S, and then R for record, which is what we'll be doing in just a second. Let's just go down a little bit further here. This will change the volume of the entire track. This will change the pan, which is the left and right balance of the entire track. This is your input, and this is the master output. So these are just kind of different tracks. We really won't be messing with this too much. And then you have different modes, read, write, etc. All right. So let's go through and actually record my voice. So to do that, first we need to arm this track to let Audition know that this is where we're going to be recording. So we're going to click on that little R for arm for recording. You can see that now that I'm doing that, I've got this VU meter, and we want to make sure that the volume is kind of going up and down right between the green and the yellow. If it goes too high into the red like this, hold your ears guys, boom, that means that it's peaking, and that's not good because it's basically oversaturating the audio, and that's going to create distortion. So now I'm going to just record a conversation between myself, a really basic one. So I'm going to go down here and hit this record to record. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing good. How are you? What was that? Oh! And then we're going to hit record to stop. Now you can see here, and we'll stop this. You can see here that we've got a little bit of really loud audio right there with that. So we can listen back to this and see how it goes just by pressing the play button down here. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing good. How are you? What was that? Oh! So you can see that there's some peaking right there, which isn't awesome, but we'll stop this. All right, so let's record the other part of this. To do that, I'm just going to click here on track 2. I'm going to change this so that I know what it is. And we'll arm this for recording here. We can see that it's recording well, and it's going to start recording wherever our playhead is right there. So here we go. Hey, how's it going? It's going pretty good. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm fine. What was that? I don't know. Oh! My wife is asleep in the other room, so I don't want to yell too much. All right, so we can play this back now, and I'm talking to myself. I'm going to turn off that little record thing there. Hey, how's it going? It's going pretty good. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm fine. What was that? I don't know. Oh! Okay, so first let's do a little thing here where we've got this audio is a little bit loud. It might be hurting you in your headphones if you're listening in headphones. So let's just turn this down. Now we can turn the volume down for the entire piece right here. And of course we could turn it up as well. Maybe I'll just turn it down 1.5, 1.5-ish. So let's see how this sounds. Hey, how's it going? It's going pretty good. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm fine. All right, so we've got that. Let's, we're going to zoom in a little bit on these sections here. So, because what I'd really like to do, I'm just going to move this over so we can see it. We can see that we have a lot of audio right now there. Now, if you look, you can see that we've got a yellow line right here. And if I hover over that, you can see that it says voice, or it won't, but that is what it is, volume. So if I just double click on this yellow line here, I will create a little dot. And what I'm going to do is this is going to allow me to basically do the equivalent of turning the volume down. I'll turn it down 0.9 here. So that's going to actually just bring down that volume so that it's not as loud. I'll do the same thing over here. Highlight that, double click to create that little dot, create another dot, and then just bring it up. This is actually pan, which we'll get to in just a second what that does. But first, double click there for volume, bring this down to, what did we say, 2.5, 3, that works. So now, and let me just move this over here. We can bring that down. So now if we listen, what was that? I don't know. Oh! So we can see that it's a little bit quieter. I can make it even quieter by just bringing it down this way. Same thing here, just get my dot, bring it down, and now if we listen, I don't know. Oh! All right, so now it's not busting out our ears as much. As you saw before, there is another line, which is our pan line right here. And the pan line basically allows us to show how much audio is going into either the left or right channel of your headphones. So if I drag this pan all the way up here, then it's going to be in the left channel. And if I go over here and I drag this pan all the way over here, and it's going to be to the right. So now when we listen, especially if you're in headphones, you'll hear, hey, hey. So now you can hear them kind of panning back and forth. All right. So that's a way. That's another way of kind of creating depth. Now we're not going to get into. You don't have to use the panning feature, but I think it's something I would recommend because it's going to give it a nicer sense of presence and depth. Let's also go into changing the voice number 2. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to use a little bit of some sound effects to actually make this second voice sound like I'm not talking to myself. To do that, I'm going to go over here to where it says Effects Rack. The effects rack is basically a rack of different sound effects that you can do, like if you were to do this in an analog fashion, you could do this with like a pedal or something like that. If we click on this arrow here, that's where they're all hiding. And you can see there are a bunch of different ones. You guys are more than welcome to play with this. Delay and echo would give you an echo. These are all basically set for either working with vocals. This Audition is kind of created to be more of working with like podcasts and stuff like that as opposed to music production. But you can still use it for that. So there's a lot of equalization and stuff like that. Reverb, which I'm sure you're all familiar with that. The thing that we're going to mess with right here is under time and pitch, and this thing called pitch shifter. So if we click on that, it doesn't look like really much is happening, but if I start playing here, and what I'm going to do actually, let me just show you something else. I'm going to go up here and use my little time selector, and I'm just going to select this area here. And now I'm going to use this thing called loop playback right here. And what that does is it's basically
It's going pretty good.
it's going to just make that loop over and over and over again. That way, in real time, I can change the pitch. Once again, pitch shifter. And if I hit play here,
Pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going
pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty
all right,
good.
and we'll
It's
stop.
going pretty
We'll
good.
stop that now just to stop the craziness. So now we've kind of gone through and fixed that. Now you can also hear right at the end, there's this little weird mouth sound that I made. Sorry for that. It wasn't done on purpose, but we can use that as a way to get to fix things. So what I'm going to do now is just get rid of these things here by hitting, I think it's Option X. No. Oh, I think you just double click down here and it gets rid of it. So there's this little I'm doing thing right there. And I'm going to zoom in even more so we can kind of see it. There it is. There's that little slurpy sound that I was making. So I can delete that just by going through, selecting it, and I can just hit delete if I want to. That'll leave kind of an empty space, but that'll work. Another thing we can do is I can go in and I can chop this with my razor and then go back and use the V key and delete that as well. And what's nice about that is I can then just move this over just a little bit so that we don't have that gap. That does mean that I'm moving this over a little bit, but I think it works. All right, so we'll zoom out a little bit, hitting the minus key. And then let's just go and quickly get a sound effect to bring in here to for us to react to. So I'm gonna just go over to this site called Free Sounds, which I have over here. You will have to log into this, which means that you're gonna have to submit an email address to them. I've had an account with these guys for over 10 years, and I think I was contacted by them once just to make sure that I was still using the account. So don't worry about giving it. And if you are, you can always just give out your PNCA email address. All right, so let's go and let's use let's look for the sound of a dinosaur. The other thing, the reason that I like Freesound is that it's people who are really into audio uploading really high quality audio. There, you can look for sounds on Google and stuff like that, but they're not going to be as high quality. So let's look for dinosaur here. Obviously, dinosaurs don't exist, but somebody has probably made them. And now let's also look at waveforms. So these are called waveforms. The higher the waveform, the louder things are going to be. So you can actually go through and kind of figure out how things are going to sound. So for instance, this one right here, it looks like there's going to be there's going to be like 2 roars, like roar, roar. It's 4 seconds long. Whereas this one's more like roar, right? So it's 9 seconds long. Let's just play this and see here. So here, 2 sounds, roar, and then it gets quieter, roar, and then it gets quieter. Let's listen. Some heavy compression going on in that. So this one, one roar, and then this one roar. Ooh, need some water. Let's listen. Ooh, scary. All right, let's just say we go with this one, even though it's a dinosaur dragon growl. All right, to get this, we just download it. Should download pretty quickly. And while it's doing that, I'm just going to compress both of these, go into my time arts folder. Once again, this should be on an external drive. And here where it says Demo Sound Project, I'm also just going to create in there a new folder called Audio. And this is where I'm just going to put all of the audio that I download. Once again, this is really super important because by default, most of the audio that you're downloading is going to be either coming from the website or you're going to be bringing audio off of an external recorder. And if you just drag it right into Audition, it's going to expect you to have that audio the next time that you come in. So if you get rid of the audio thing or you move files, you're going to be in trouble. So you want to make sure all of your audio is right there. I'm going to go to my downloads. There it is. I'm also just going to change this into, we'll call it a dragon, just to make it easier to see what it is and bring it over there. All right, now let's go into Audition here. And you can see I've got my 2 voice 1 and voice 2 because I've recorded those. If I double click here, this will bring up a folder. It'll start off in the demo project area where we have everything saved. So we can go into audio here and just open our dragon. To bring the audio over, all we really need to do is we just drag it over here. And let's see, I think the dragon happens right here. If the sample variety is different, just hit OK. So now let's see if we got this at the right place. What was that? All right, so we want this to be right here. What was that?
I don't know.
Oh!
Okay, so there we are. Now we've got the entire piece. Let's listen. Hey,
Hey,
how's it going?
it's going pretty good.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine.
What was that?
I don't know.
Oh!
All right, so let's just let's bring this in even further to right here. And then with the dragon, it's got like this roar and this other roar. Let's just shrink that a little bit. So I'm going to hit mute here. So I'm just hearing, or actually not mute, solo. So I'm just hearing these 2 and I'm not hearing the other ones. All right, so right there, I'm going to use my razor tool with R. Click to delete that. And this looks, we can see right here is where it starts up again. So I'm going to hit there, then using the V key to go back to my arrow, delete that, and then I can just drag this over here. And now we'll have that kind of roaring happen even more. And if we drag even more, what this will do is kind of create a crossfade between the 2. That's what these lines mean. All right, so let's unsolo that.
Fine.
What was that?
I don't know.
All right. So the last thing I want to do is just go in and add some atmosphere. So I'm going to go back to my Find Sounds, and let's just get some jungle atmosphere. Okay, and these are probably going to be pretty long. This piece right here, let's just see how long it is. It looks like it's about 10 seconds long, so we don't need very much. And I'm just going to use this one right here. Just listen to it real fast. All right, that sounds great. We'll download it. Once again, you guys can see that it's going to start off with these kind of additional numbers. These are just to kind of help catalog things, but they're going to make it harder for us as audio editors. So once this is downloaded and I drag it over, I'm going to rename it to make it easier for me to see. As you can see here, It says dragon. And let's go over to, we'll jump this down here. Same thing, we're gonna go over to here. Create a new, open up a new folder here, and then go to my downloads. And it looks like it's finished downloading. Drag this over here. And once again, I'm just gonna call this jungle. All right. Then open this up. Once again, just double clicking here so I can import. Click on jungle, open it up. I'm gonna create a new track right here for the jungle, and then just drag that in. And same thing with the sample rate. And then we'll listen. Hey!
Hey!
And I can go and I can actually, if I want to just bring the entire audio down, we'll just bring it down just a little bit because we want it to be subtle. Hey!
Hey!
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine.
What was that?
I don't know.
Oh! All right, and then I don't need this to go any longer than that. So what I can do is just, we'll zoom out here by hitting the minus key. Can hold it down and go further. And then if I go right over to the side, you can see that it turns into this little red pitchfork like in Premiere, and I'll just drag this over to here. And that'll be the end of it. And then to export this out, we just want to make sure that we go to the end. We can do that by pressing the N key on our keyboard or just dragging it there. I'm going to hit O for out, just like we do in Premiere. So this has this selected. Then we're going to go to File, Export, Multitrack Mixdown, and we're going to use time selection. That way, if we have any stuff over here, it won't work. It won't kind of mess us up if we actually have a little piece of audio further down. We'll name this whatever we want to. It's going to put it in our documents folder. So let's just set this to go to the same place that we had before. Onto here, click here, and we'll go onto the desktop, time arts, into our sound project, and then we'll just save it there. And then we'll hit OK, and it should export it out. And now if we go into our time arts folder and go back one, you can see right there is our project, which we can listen to. I'm sure you're sick of it by now, but I'll just hit spacebar. Hey!
Hey!
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
I'm doing good. How are you? All right, and that's the basics. Now, there's a lot of other things that we're going to play with. We're going to learn about how to use the waveform monitor to reduce noise in next class. We're going to learn a little bit more about these different tracks and effects that we have here. But this is enough to get you started, all right? So I hope this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you soon.